already done a little bit of this. So page 3, there are 3 aspects to the physical phenomena of rising and falling movement, which the yogis will be aware of sooner or later. So in the beginning, most yogis will be very conscious of the form of that yoga. Most people will report, I feel that I can see the skin of the abdomen, and I feel there's like a balloon. I feel like it's expanding like a balloon. So these are expressions they use to tell us about their experience. Another one is the form. The form is like a wavy pattern, or it's like a pendulum, right? Something like that. They will use their own expressions. They compare with something that they already know, and they try to express to us how they experience the rising and falling, the main object or the primary object. And the manner or mode is the abdomen being in an inflated state, or a flat state, or a relaxed state, or a light state. Some yogis will experience something else which we call the essential characteristics. So it can come in off and on also. It doesn't mean all the time you experience it. Certain times you may experience the form and shape. Certain times you may experience the tension, vibration, stiffness, tightness of the stomach. Tension, vibrations are very common. Some yogis can even hear the movement of the chi inside their abdomen. So these are very normal. Okay, so don't hesitate and think it's not correct and then stop your practice. All these are very normal. So all you need to do is take note of it and try to report to your teacher or the interviewer. Sometimes the yogi is very observant, very mindful, so they can see the difference in the beginning of their practice, because now you're practicing for 45 minutes, right? So it's quite a long time. So the minute you sit down is different, and then towards the end of the practice is also different. The middle part of the practice, that is after 20 minutes if you're sitting down, is supposed to be very good. Okay, so try to sit 45 minutes. Don't get up after 20 minutes or after 30 minutes. Some yogis can compare their experiences, and then they can tell us that the rising falling becomes slower and slower, or they become faster, or they suddenly disappear, or they suddenly appear as if they are going further and further away. These are very normal experiences that we expect you to be aware of. Some yogis can also pinpoint the location wherever they are feeling a particular sensation, and the moment of occurrence. For example, they can say, I feel very tight. And then we ask them, is it in the rising or in the falling? They can answer straight away. It's in the rising. Okay? They won't say it's in the falling because they know. But it doesn't mean it's the same for everybody. Okay? There's no one answer for everything. So it all depends on your experience. So you should report such things. Slow, fast, regular pattern, smooth, irregular, and maybe you can experience choppy, like stage 4, the rising and falling. These are expressions that yogis use, which we accept. But do not be too general and say, oh, I can only feel upward movement and downward movement. That is too general. So we expect something more than that. So to get a better experience, or to be able to report in a more precise way, you really need to look closer at the rising point. So we are giving you the cue. We are telling you that you need to look closer, so that you can report on these things. How you noted the object, how you noticed it. Then did you notice the changes? For example, it disappears suddenly. So yogi may say, suddenly the rising became very fast, like fluttering. Then, or sometimes they say, suddenly the rising falling is not there anymore, I can't find it anymore. A moment ago it was there, very clear. Then as I noted it, suddenly it disappeared without anything remaining. So I don't know what happened to it. So be honest, if that's what happened to you, just report it. Okay, report as whatever it is that happened. And of course, the last one, the fourth one, I said was state of mind. Now, this one is not so easy for most yogis because they are too preoccupied in looking at the object, they cannot note their own mind. Okay, or it may arise, but they just dismiss it as self. For example, you doubt. You know, doubt? Doubt means you're not sure, okay? Did I really experience that? You ask yourself. So that is doubt. But you don't know how to note it as doubt yet. You should actually note it as doubt. So that comes under the lesson 8 on Chitta Vipassana. So some yogis, they know, those who have some experience, they know they should know that kind of mental state. Or very confused. Sometimes they feel very confused. They don't know what they're supposed to be doing. These things can come up. Then you can note it. Or you become very confident. When the rising calling is very clear, suddenly you can become very confident on what you are doing. So you can record, you can note it. You feel very confident at that time. So the mental state is a good one. And then report on the secondary objects. I explained before last week. Generally, secondary objects are sight, sound, smell, taste. Of course, you are not eating, so you can't experience much taste when you're doing your sitting, unless you are having imagination, tasting food. So, seeing also, because your eyes are closed, you're not really seeing, so you are actually imagining. But you can note it as seeing, seeing, seeing. Some yogis can understand, because you are seeing something, but it's imagining, right? But it's still seeing. It's objects that you normally see in the past, that stored in your memory, and they come up in your practice. Understand? So you note it as seeing, seeing. There's nothing wrong. You're not seeing with your eyes, but seeing it with your mind. Because it's the mind that sees. It's not really the eye. The eye is just a physical organ. The eye cannot see anything. Do you know that? It's just the organ that helps you to have seeing consciousness. But the eye doesn't see. If the eye sees, then everybody, even those who are blind, can see. Correct? Blind people also have eyes. But they don't have that sensitivity of the eye, and there is no seeing consciousness that can arise in them because they lack the eye organ, functional eye organ. Okay, something has happened, probably they are born blind or they have injured their eyes. So they can't see with their eyes. But even for us, it's not the physical eye that sees, it's not your physical ear that can hear, it's the mind that hears. It's the mind that tastes, not your tongue. These physical organs are not aware of anything. Understand? So it's all done by the mind. So when we note seeing, smelling, hearing, tasting, touching, we are actually noting mind, not physical objects. Mental images, thinking, recalling, planning, imagining, and so on. And then of course your feelings, your emotions. You're happy, sad, depressed, fear. So the experience of these objects, as and when they arise, should be described in the proper manner, clearly and precisely, using simple language. Describe how you noted it and what you observed. So after noting what did you observe, what will you come to know after noting it? You can report that. Then your walking meditation, you must describe fully how you experience the lifting, pushing, dropping. Now that is 3 steps or 3 phases. So you at home you're not required to do 3 phases yet, but you can try if you want, maybe for 10 minutes only. So you do 20 minutes, 15 minutes of brisk walking, then 20 minutes of slow walking. Okay, and maybe you can try 5 or 10 minutes of the very slow walking. So we have brisk walking, slow walking, and very slow walking. So when I talk about the third one, the 3 phases, we are talking about a very slow walking. Okay, so this you will have to do in the retreat because you're going to walk for 1 hour. Only the first 2 sets on the first day, that's on the Saturday, you do it for 45 minutes because we want you to gradually get used, transition into the 1 hour set. Understand? So we still allow you to do 45 minutes on Saturday morning. But after lunch on Saturday, everybody must do 1 hour walking and 1 hour sitting. And you carry on with that to the next day, unless we have no time. Sometimes we have to take a little bit of time off to make way for the Dhamma talk at night. So we might reduce the sitting later on in the day to 45 minutes. Okay, but normally, generally, when you go for a retreat, you are expected to do 1 hour walking, 1 hour sitting. So when you report on the walking, you must tell the teacher that when you are lifting the foot, what happened. In the process of lifting the foot, it is not just one lifting. There are so many lifting involved. Okay, it's just like I told you before, that when you take a photo, you take photographs and then there are so many frames, right? 36 frames per second, for example. Right? And that's how you perceive the movement. So there are so many intentions, so many processes involved in one lifting. And you should be able to detect some kind of sensation that is manifested when you lift your foot. From the beginning stage of lifting to the ending stage of the lifting, and then from the beginning of the dropping to the ending of the dropping. So this should be very clear to most yogis if they have been practicing diligently. But of course, if you don't practice it properly, you are very lackadaisical, you just can't be bothered what's happening, your mind is dreaming, you're wondering, you're thinking when you're walking. Then you are not really doing walking meditation. You are simply just walking just like anybody else. You're just a normal person, you're not a yogi. Okay? So please try to report when you have these experiences, for example, the foot feeling heavier or lighter as you lift up, which is it. So you should be able to tell the teacher, as I lift up, the foot is lighter and lighter. And then when I put down, it's getting heavier and heavier. It could be the reverse. I'm not giving you answers here. Okay? It's all up to your experience. And then when I put my foot on the ground, I can feel the hardness. So some people can say, when I put my foot down, it's softness. Right? Correct? Possible. You will experience it one day, then you'll be worried. How come last time I feel hardness, now I feel softness? It's not because of the ground. Okay? It's because of touch consciousness, the mind, not the ground. So anything is possible. And then some yogis may report, as I bring down the foot, I can feel cutting sensations in between my toes. I can feel stickiness when I lift my toes from the ground. I can feel wetness in between the toes. Okay? I can feel hot flushes, cold flushes as I put my foot down. So the same thing during the retreat, you are expected to report this. So yogis should observe all these phenomena as and when they arise, not before or after. Just like if you have to look up when there's lightning. You know when there's lightning? When the lightning, the thunder is heard, then you know there's going to be lightning. Okay? It comes at the same time actually. So more or less at the same time. So you look up. By the time you look up, you miss the show and the lightning is gone. So if you want to be able to see the lightning, you should keep looking up at the sky. So when the lightning strikes, you can see it. So the same thing with your perception of these movements. If you are dreaming, you are very dreamy, you are looking at someone entering the door when they are lifting your foot. So you cannot report anything about the lifting. You miss the whole thing. And by the end of your 45 minutes or so, you're still looking here and there. There are some of you I noticed when you're doing your walking, the men in there or the ladies here. Instead of focusing your mind on the foot, you're looking at other people. When you are looking at other people, your mind is not on your foot. So you cannot report anything about the walking process. Okay, so this shows that you don't understand the purpose of meditation. When you finish your walking, then you can look as much as you like. Alright, so please try to restrain your desire to look around when you are doing your walking meditation. This is so important. That's why we ask you to look down. That means your eyes should be downcast. You half close your eyelids. You know your eyelids, you can fully open or you can close it halfway down. So try to close it down so that you are not distracted by objects in front of you and at the side. So when you can observe this phenomena, then you can realize their particular characteristics or qualities. This realization is not something very ordinary. It's the prelude to insight knowledge. We meditate in Vipassana practice to gain insight knowledge. But before we can get insight knowledge, we must know how to direct our mind, to place our mind on the object, and to sustain our mind on the object. So we are telling you all this so that you can do it. And when you can do it, then there will be insight knowledge arising in your practice. So there must be causes and conditions before the insight knowledge can arise. If you don't have those conditions, you will never get insight knowledge. You can only dream about it and pray for it. Just like people who pray for Nibbana. They do dana and then they expect Nibbana. They do something and then they expect something to come out from it. But they don't go and practice meditation. So if you keep on practicing dana to the monks, dana to other people, but you don't practice meditation, you cannot attain Nibbana. Dana doesn't guarantee that you can attain Nibbana. Dana is only a support. Okay, so in Malaysia, we find people are very preoccupied with doing dana. Why? Because dana is very easy to do. Correct? All you need to do is money, you have money, go and buy something and you can offer to the monks really. But to meditate is very difficult, right? People like to do the things that are easy. They don't want to do the things that are difficult, that are challenging. So you really want to experience insight knowledge, to be satisfied with your own practice, you must make the effort. We are helping you by giving you instructions for you. We cannot do it for you. Nobody can meditate for you. No matter how much they learn you, they cannot say, never mind, I meditate for you. I'll go for the retreat for you. You cannot attain Nibbana for somebody. Alright, so lastly, reminders. Use simple, easy, clear language. That's important. The interview is not the right time to ask Dhamma questions or silly questions. Okay, if you have Dhamma questions, they may be good questions, but you must keep it for the right time, a suitable time. Not during the interview. The interview is only for you to report your experience. Number 3, do not try to evaluate your own practice. This is very important. Sometimes yogis get very depressed because they think their practice is not good because they make a value judgment on their practice. So don't judge your own practice. Leave the judgment to your teachers, okay, or the interviewer. The yogi's duty is not to judge their practice, but simply to do the practice and leave the evaluation to the teacher. Sometimes the teachers will drop hints whenever it's appropriate, so that you avoid making mistakes in your practice. Treat the advice given by the teachers seriously. Now, there are many yogis, when they go for interview, they just feel like they are talking to their friends. It's different. A teacher is a qualified person who has experience, and they are teaching you from their own experience. But if you don't want to listen, there's nothing else a teacher can do. It's just like when I give you something, I give you a gift, you don't like it. You don't accept it. So if you don't accept it, what do I do with the gift? I just keep it. Okay? So the same thing, if we tell you to do something and you don't want to listen to our advice, you rather do your own way, then there's nothing else you can do. So it is not appreciated. When the gift is not appreciated, you cannot get anything out of it. Alright? So please remember that. Treat the advice given by the teachers seriously. Put them into practice. Do not try to get advice from other yogis. We find this happening too often in Malaysia. Many yogis, they sit together and then they ask each other, how's your practice now? When I practice now, I feel like this, like this, like this. And then the other person say, no, I don't feel like this. And then they think the other person's practice is much better than theirs. And they start trying to, or they expect to get that kind of experience. So this is not correct. Don't ask your friends about their practice. Keep your practice personal. Understand? It's between you and your teacher only. Because if you do that, then you may end up being more confused. Because who is your friend? Your friend is probably just another beginner like you. Okay, so it doesn't mean that whatever they experience, although it is good, if we say it is good, it doesn't mean that it is correct. It may not also mean that it is a progress. They may have misunderstood and judged their own practice. So try not to do that. If you are pleased with your practice, do not expect praises or good comments from your teacher. So the teacher will just keep quiet and tell you, continue with your practice. I already mentioned last week, if it's not broken, don't fix it. There's this rule that the teachers have. Remember that the teacher, especially if they are monks, will treat you as a student in a very normal way. So do not try to develop a close personal relationship with the teacher during the retreat or during your interviews. You should try to maintain mindfulness too during the interview by being mindful of your speech and the time that has lapsed. So do not use too much time for your interview and then to keep another unit meeting. So we only allocate 5 minutes for your interview for beginners retreat. Okay, try not to exceed the 5 minutes. Do not worry too much about making your report. Okay, do not start thinking for 1 hour or 2 hours what you're going to say to the teacher. Don't bring a dictionary, don't bring a translator, don't check with your phone. Okay, just speak off the tongue. Whatever comes to you when you are in front of the teacher, just tell them. Do not, describe what happened and not what you think is happening. This is very important. Some yogis cannot see the difference between what really happened and what you thought happened. What you thought happened is your conceptualization of it, is your analysis of it. But what really happened has to be reported. We are interested in what really happened, not what you think happened. Do you see the difference? So please do not add in your own thoughts about your experience. Report your experience exactly how you experience it, according to how you experience it, okay? Not how you interpret it. For example, I give you on page 6, tension. There was hardness on top of my head, so I noted it. At one point, it became more tense, and then I noted it. As I noted it, I felt pulling sensation as if my hair was pulled from above the top of my head. And then gradually, this tension became stronger, and it felt very unpleasant. Later, it became more subtle. Then I returned to noting the rising and falling. So this is a very good report. Everything is all in. So the teacher doesn't need to ask you anything, because your report is very comprehensive. It's enough. Sensation. There was a sharp pricking sensation in the right ankle. I noted it, and it moved to the knee. Sometimes the pain will move, okay? And then it became more intense. Every time I noted it, it seemed to move to another spot. The noting mind could follow it quite closely. That means as it moved, my noting also moved. If it moved to this location, then I also noted at that location. And then it moved to another location. It can go from right leg to left leg and so on. Then suddenly I felt as if my whole body had disappeared. Okay? Thinking. The mind wandered off quite often and I got lost in thinking. It took me a while to notice it. That means some time. That means you were very engrossed in the thinking, you were carried away. But when I realized it and noted this thinking, it ceased. Ceased means it stopped altogether, and the rising and falling just appeared automatically. Okay, this is also a very good report. Wondering, while observing the rising and falling, my mind wandered on, but I was able to catch it quickly as soon as it started, and I noted wondering before I resumed noting the rising and falling. So you see, you tell the teacher what happened, you tell the teacher what you did with the object, you noted it, and then you tell the teacher what happened after you noted the object. Okay? All the 3 things are there. Emotions, feelings. As I was noting the rising falling, a strong feeling of sadness arose. I noted it as sad. As I continued to note it, it changed to neutral feeling. Then the mind started to note touching. Okay? I haven't taught you all sitting touching yet. I'm supposed to teach you all lesson 6. Okay? Right. Lastly, I need to remind you all about the 5 golden rules. Okay, now and then I have to remind you all. Please take out lesson, I think lesson 2. Lesson 2. Lesson 2, page 8. The 5 golden rules. They are the 5 don'ts. What you're not supposed to do. Because we have this tendency always. It's a kind of conditioning in our daily life. We let our mind do whatever it wants. We don't restrain the mind. So in meditation, we are restraining the mind. So number one, the 5 golden rules. Did you see that? 5 golden rules for effective Vipassana practice. Now this one I created myself, okay? Just to make it easy for you to remember. So number 1 to number 5, you can say C-M-I-E-J. See all those letters that I bold? C-M-I-E-J. C means create. Do not create the object. Do not create. For example, rising, falling, not there. So you make it there. You make it happen by breathing in deeply or loudly, like this. This is not the way to practice. Okay, so don't create the object purposely so that you can note. Number 2, so C stands for create. Number 2, do not manipulate the object. Some of you came without your notes. So remember, we give you the notes not for you to keep at home. So please bring your notes that you come for every lesson. Do not manipulate the object. Manipulate is to control the object or to reject it. Control means you want to manage it. Okay? Manage it means you want to do something with the object, especially the pain. When the pain comes in your leg, then you try to move your leg, right? You're trying to do something with the pain. Correct. So you're not supposed to do that. So you're trying to do that, you must tell us that, oh, you're not supposed to manipulate the object. Now the object is pain. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to alleviate, to make the pain disappear, correct? So that is obviously managing the object. So that's something you shouldn't be doing. Okay? Not to reject it. Reject means don't want to see. I don't like it. I don't want to see. I don't want it. I don't want to accept it as my meditation object. I'd rather look at my rising falling. Correct? Now, some people say, oh, never mind, it's painful, I don't like to see it. I might as well try to do rising falling. Cannot, not possible. The pain will be calling you. So do not manipulate, M for manipulate. Do not identify with any object as being the self. For example, my leg. Oh, my leg is so painful, it's my leg. Mine, not my leg, mine, M-I-N-E, mine. I own this leg, not my leg. Correct or not? That is our conditioning, isn't it? It's my leg, it's my head. Correct? It's my head. Actually, you don't own it. If you own it, you can control. Nothing can happen to it. But you cannot. So you have to surrender to conditions. So when you experience certain things that's happening in your leg, all you know is it's a sensation. But you don't have to be so concerned because it's my leg. I'm worried I cannot walk after this. Or I'm worried I will be so down after this, I cannot drive home. Okay? When you have this sort of negative thoughts, then what will happen is you're going to withdraw your effort. You know, you're not going to really go all out and practice it. You're going to try to move, or you may start to worry unnecessarily. You start getting worried. A lot of fear will come in, and these are negative mental states. You're not going to have any good practice, not going to have any progress after this. So when these sort of sensations come up, especially pain, all you need to do is to accept it openly. Accept it means don't treat it like it's yours. When you say it's my leg, you're having attachment to the pain in the leg. Attachment means you have claimed it as yours. It's mine. It's mine means I can do something with it. Understand? So it's not yours. It is due to conditions that are prevailing at that time. Because you are seated in this posture, you lock your legs, you can't move much, and that's why the wind is not flowing very well, and the blood circulation also is not like normal. That's all. But you're not going to die. Okay? You're not going to die from sitting cross-legged. Please believe me, nobody ever died sitting cross-legged. You may die doing other things, like driving a car or walking across the road, but you don't die sitting cross-legged. So when these things happen to you, you must detach it for a self-idea. It's only your idea, the ego attachment. You see, we only think it's my thing. You see, when the yogi really can sit properly, they are not disturbed at all because they don't feel like it's their leg anymore. It's just an object that they are watching. It's just like you put an object under your microscope and then you observe, you look at the object. You examine the object under the microscope. Okay? So now you're observing the pain in the leg as an object. It has nothing to do with the self. So when we have this idea, it's my leg, the big self comes into the picture. So this is a wrong view. Because the Buddha told us there is no such thing as a self. But we cannot get rid of this idea because we are so ingrained. We have been brought up for many existences thinking that there is a self. It's not easy to just get rid of this idea of self. So it will naturally come. You will think, oh my leg is so painful, it's hurting. Then because of that, you don't want to practice anymore. Or you want to relax your effort. So try not to identify. It's not your leg. Just treat it as an object. Object means something that you can observe. Okay? Number 4. Do not expect any spectacular experience to arise in the practice, including progress. Means don't expect progress. Many yogis, they will try to sit longer and longer. Why? Because I sat already 35 minutes, nothing happened. I want something to happen. So I want to sit some more, 15 minutes, I want to sit some more, 20 minutes, make it more than 1 hour, 1.5 hours, not enough. Something must happen, otherwise I feel I wasted my time. Correct? This is what makes yogis want to sit longer and longer and longer, because they are hoping, in Hokkien they say, you going to experience. So you are hoping to get good experience. This is a kind of craving, greed, loba, citta. So the greed is coming up in your mind, but you cannot see the mind as having greed now. Okay, because your craving is so strong. You're hoping that something nice, something great will happen, that you can boast about it. Last one, do not judge your own experience. Judging your own experience. I said just now, evaluating your own experience. Okay? So now it's 4:15. So I will have to let you all break up now into your groups. So myself, first group A, B, C, D, E. Okay? Yes. No, noble silence. If you can talk, finish now. Everybody will be yanking away, then you think you came for a party, They feed you and then you sit there and start talking and talking and talking the whole day. This is a meditation retreat. Okay, so no talking. Don't worry, all the rules will be told to you from lesson 8. Okay? You take it from there slowly. Each Sunday I will tell you something else to prepare you for the retreat. You will be fully prepared, don't worry. Okay, let's break up into the discussion.